In a war on information, Vladimir Putin is taking new steps to isolate his country from the rest of the world. Today, the Russian president signed a new law that threatens a 15-year prison sentence for spreading war information the Russian government deems to be false. This comes as the country banned access to social media giants Facebook and Twitter. Burton Kelso is a technology expert. He is joining us live tonight. Welcome to Prime. Thanks for being here. Russia has a long history of releasing disinformation and propaganda. We know that. And we now know the government is threatening jail time for people in Russia who even call this a war instead of a military operation, right? But what tactics are the Russians actually using in this conflict, and how effective are they?
Well, thanks for having me. And it's unfortunate that the situation is going on in Russia, but some of the tactics that they're using to spread misinformation is that they're shutting down most of the media outlets in Russia, but also, too, they're going to social media and blocking Facebook and Twitter, just to make sure that dissidents in Russia can't see what's actually going on with the war in Ukraine.
And we know state-run media, obviously not a reliable source in Russia. So how do Russians get a clear picture of what is going on? Are they able to find a way around it? Because I know in my experiences in Iran and Cuba and other places where regimes crack down on internet access and information, there's always a way around it that people somehow figure out.
Definitely. Probably one of the best methods that people can use to get around misinformation, especially as far as social media is concerned, is to utilize a VPN or a virtual private network. VPNs can definitely make sure that you can see what's going on in the outside world without having to be blocked by specific servers in Russia.
So they've clearly, many people, would you say, have figured it out in Russia and are able to get information from the outside world?
I would say probably not a lot of people know about VPN access, but the ones that know a little bit about technology definitely can download the VPN and use it to get access to the outside world.
Okay, and let's talk about Americans and how we get our news and information, because a lot of Americans get their news from social media. And in a war like this, sometimes that's the way to see what's actually going on in places that journalists don't have access to. But there is so much disinformation and deep fakes, et cetera. How do we know if what we're seeing is real?
That's a good question. And it's very difficult, especially with social media, to get around what's fake and what's real on social media. One of the best ways to look and verify that accounts aren't Russian bots or other fake accounts is to look at the account that you're following on Twitter or on Facebook. If it has a small amount of users, then that can be an indicator that it's a fake account. Also, websites are sometimes posted by fake accounts. So rather than clicking on the link and viewing and thinking that the information is legitimate, always check where the website is coming from. If it's like a unknown website, obviously it could be fake news. You want to make sure it's coming from a legitimate news source before you believe the information that's being shared on social media.
And are social media companies doing an efficient job of vetting what's being put out there in connection with the war in Ukraine?
They're doing as best as they can, because the challenge with fake social media accounts and Russian bots is that there is just so many out there. I know I manage a group on Facebook, and it's just a constant onslaught of Russian bots that are fake accounts that are trying to get into the group and spread misinformation. So they're doing as much as they can, but the challenge is it's just so much as far as bots coming in trying to fake or to trick people into believing what's going on with this conflict.
And we know they've done their fair share of damage here in the U.S. What should we all, let's shift gears a little bit, and I want to ask you if we should all be prepared for cyber attacks here at home and what they would look like.
Definitely, we should be prepared for them, because with the sanctions that the U.S. has imposed against Russia, there is no doubt that they are going to retaliate in some form or fashion. You can expect phishing emails and spam emails come through, but also it's a good possibility that Russia may attack our infrastructure. They also may attack GPS and internet access, just not necessarily to cause a full-out war, but just to cause an inconvenience as far as having people push for the U.S. to remove sanctions from Russia. Like
a blackmail situation.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, we know volunteers, everyday people, they're orchestrating cyber attacks. Is that happening on both Russian and Ukrainian sides?
Well, as far as Russian side, yes, you've got, well, I wouldn't call them dissidents, but you've got criminals that are perpetrating attacks against the Ukraine. But as far as Ukrainians, what they're doing basically is just trying to share information as far as what's actually going on with the war, rather than trying to attack Russia. Now, you've got groups like Anonymous that are declaring war on, or cyber war on Russia. But as far as individuals, I think they just want their story told, and they're using social media to make sure that real information gets out there.
And what about our own government? Do you think that we are also engaged in cyber warfare?
No, because if we were engaged in true cyber warfare with Russia, then it would be an attack on their infrastructure and other parts of their country that would cause them not to function. And if that were to happen, you can look at it being a full-scale war between the U.S. and Russia. And that's something that the U.S. currently does not want to deal with right now.
All right, Burton Kelso, it's a fascinating conversation. It could go a lot of different directions. We appreciate you being here tonight to explain it all to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.